Dear friends, I apologize that the last 2 weeks I didn't give you a message. My computer, my laptop crashed, and it took me a while to get things back on track again. Good to be back with you again. We're in the Lenten season, and the first reading that we have for this Sunday is the story of Genesis. You know, how God had put Adam and Eve in the garden and told them not to touch of all the trees. So, no, rather, they could touch all the trees, but not touch the one in the middle. And then, of course, they struggle as a couple. When the serpent comes along and says, you can do whatever you want, and you can eat of the fruit of that particular tree, even though God said not to. And if you do so, your eyes will be opened. It's a story you've heard since you were little children, but what you might not be aware of is that it is an absolutely magnificent, a brilliant story written by a group of very, very smart rabbis in the 5th century BC. It's kind of like, I might say, it's a mythical story. It's not a true story. I mean, everybody should know that by now, but if you don't know it, well, I hope I don't shock you by telling you that the story of Genesis, story of Adam and Eve, is a made-up story by a group of very bright rabbis who want to communicate by a story, some fundamental truths about our human condition. And boy, they were really bright about this. So the story really says when God says, don't touch the trees of do not touch the tree in the middle, but you can touch everything else. Basically, the story is reminding human beings of all ages, of all beliefs, that human beings are essentially creatures. We're not God. We've been created by a master, given life so we can enjoy all the trees of life. In other words, to enjoy the beauty and the richness of everything and every activity we can experience in life and celebrate that God created us so we could enjoy life. The hiking and the soccer and the eating and the laughing and the playing music and all that kind of stuff. God wants us to enjoy that. But he does put one condition. Remember that you are not God, that you're only a creature. And so insofar as you keep the relationship with me correct and always submit to me or abandon your lives to me in confidence and trust me, then all will be well. Life will not necessarily always be easy, but life will be well. And so along comes the serpent. Again, the story continues. It's just a made-up story, a myth about the condition of the human person. You might say the evil one, the devil, comes along and says, no. There are no rules. There are no rules. You can eat whatever tree you want. And if God said that, it's only because he's trying to control you. And so you go ahead and do it, and you'll see that life will be a piece of cake, and you can take drugs, you can get drunk, you can do whatever you want sexually. You don't have to get married. Just do whatever you want. There's no rules in morality. And so Adam and Eve in that story, go ahead and do exactly that. But God warned them, when you do that, when you start becoming God and playing God, when you start to make up the rules of your creatureliness, rules around morality, it will be disaster. Well, that's exactly what's happening. Last Sunday, the last couple of Sundays, Deacon Francois and myself spoke about medical assisted dying. Well, at the root of the problem is that we want to make up the rules around how to deal with suffering, and we want to decide who lives and who dies, ourselves or not. But see, God says, no. I'm the creature, I'm the creator, you're the creature. And so you have to follow life as a package deal and trust me in it. But human beings are always wanting to call the shots and especially the moral rules. And we're doing that a lot today. We're trying to play around the gender of men and women. We're trying to play around with life and death. We're trying to play God when it comes to deciding whether a child should be born or not born. And the minute we do that, we start to place of poison in our existence as human beings, and disaster sets in. So the Lenten season is a time when we begin with the ashes and say, remember that you are a creature, that you are not God, and that your whole existence depends upon Him. And if you trust the Lord and walk in His ways, well, life will be well. But if you don't, you're going to be in big trouble. The Lenten season is not just a time to think about Jesus and say, oh, poor little Jesus, he suffered so much. No, no. The Lenten season is a time for you and me to think about our creatureliness and about asking the courage to live in the ways of God, to follow the guidance of the Master. It's also a time for us to think about how we're going to deal with the various sufferings in our lives, the big ones and the little ones. You might say that Lent is a kind of a boot camp in which we think about how am I going to deal with situations that are difficult, and especially my own Paschal mystery, when I too will one day face the Garden of Gethsemane, as I will, and one day have to walk up to Golgotha, just like Jesus did, and I too will have to face my passion, just like Jesus did. We all will have to. That's part of our creatureliness. It's a time for us to think about that and ask the grace to follow Christ in all ways and to allow our lives to be a participation in His saving work of this world. So it's a lot. I'll continue to talk about that from Sunday, from week to week on these Lenten meditations. But I think the first thing is thinking about this story about Adam and Eve, reminding us when you put the ashes on your forehead that I'm a creature and my life is very frail and my knees will give out and my back will go out and my memory will start to fail. This is part of being a creature. And in and through this, I need to trust the Creator. So I wish you all a very blessed and holy Lenten season, in holiness, to follow the Lord more closely, and to accompany Him. He says to us, come follow me. So God bless you, and have a good Lenten season.